Welcome back to another episode of King's Coffee. I believe this episode number 7. And today, we got a special guest in the building. I was checking him out on Instagram. He got some style. He got some flavor. He got some talent. I want to introduce y'all to Chef Doug Barnett.
Yeah, great, man. Took a good little drive out here.
Yeah, it was about an hour or some change. I know about them drives, man. When I used to live in Cobb County, coming up here, man, it was like 50 minutes on a good day.
Man, on a good day.
On a good day.
For real.
On a good day.
My GPS will cut me down like 9 minutes. I'm like, cool, let's run.
Exactly, that. Facts, man. I appreciate you coming on 86, man. Showing me some love, like getting to chop it up, talk food, talk all that good stuff, man. I want to hop right into it. So, were you born in the States?
I was.
Okay.
I was. I was born in New York, actually.
Oh, for real?
Born in
Brooklyn,
I
did not know that, actually.
Yeah, Kings County. I know you got the Kings County.
Yeah, the Kings County, yeah.
Kings County, New York, Brooklyn, New York. To Jamaican-born parents. Both my parents are from Jamaica.
Okay.
They didn't meet in Jamaica. They met here in the States. But I'm the middle child. I'm the fourth born. I'm the last born of both my parents. So,
okay. Heard. So when did your parents move to the States? Do you remember?
Yeah, my mom, she came to the States sometime in the 80s. Same with my dad, sometime mid-80s, between both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heard, that's cool. That's cool. In New York, man, you from up top, man. That just threw me off. I did not expect you to say New York. I think it was a youth from Atlanta, from Georgia. Yeah. So when did you move to Georgia?
I came to Georgia in 2011, right in the middle of high school.
Okay.
Came in the middle of high school. At that time, I was living in Boston.
Okay.
I moved here from Boston. At that time, I didn't have a choice neither, because if I'm in high school, I'm living with my mom, and she just said, we got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly how it went too, man. So I've been here ever since. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So just take me on like a journey. Like, what got you into culinary? Like, what got you into food? Like, so how did you fall in love with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So, of course, like just being Jamaican, you're always gonna have that type of culture. Like cooking, like in many other cultures, cultures is a part of. Just a fundamental household thing,
Yep.
Traditional things. And so Jamaican food was always in my household. And, I always, I like to cook here and there. I was never really a big cook until maybe about 6 years ago when I moved out my mom's house for the first time. And I remember the very first week I moved out my mom's crib, my mom, she came over to my house and she showed me how to cook.
Yeah.
Because she said, I didn't ask for it, but she was just like, I need to show you how to cook because you're not living with me no more. So, you just can't depend on me making your meals every day. And I was open to it. I was like, that's cool. She came through. I still remember. Like, I got the photos and videos because I had to take videos every day to see how to do everything. So she made, she made this little dish that she cooked up for me. Some cabbage, some rice and peas, and it was some shrimp. Granted, I don't eat shrimp now anymore, but it's about 6 years ago. Yeah, so she showed me how to cook the meal up.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. So ever since then, it was a go. I kept on cooking because it was a necessity.
Yeah, right. So you were saying like your mom is like the person who like, I don't want to say your culinary inspiration, but the person who put the ball in your hands. Like, this is all you go. Like, this is cooking, and that's how you got your love from it.
Yeah, definitely. My mom and her husband. Husband as well. He was a great cook, big cook too.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of he'll cook many different ways, whether it's on the grill or the stove, in the oven. And he never made it seem as if it was a big deal. Like he enjoyed it so much.
Right.
Granted, he was never a culinary chef or he didn't go to school for it, but like in Jamaica on the island, like it's a part of the culture. Like many men cook. Yeah. Like that's not uncommon. You just find many men that cook and they cook well.
Yeah.
So he was also a Jamaican man. Her husband, not my dad. But yeah, he would cook on time, and I'll be in the kitchen when I'm watching what you doing. Every now and then, my mom I'll make some small stuff like some barbecue chicken, but it was nothing extravagant. But I just do a little something.
Okay, I like that. So, what's your favorite, I guess, Jamaican dish to make?
Sure.
He's like, I got plenty, too many.
Yeah, now to make though, I say curry chicken.
Curry chicken?
Yeah, curry chicken, my favorite thing to make.
Okay, I got to get some of that curry chicken off your gut. That curry chicken. I'm going to have to pull that up on you.
Man, I would like to have brought some food for you today, honestly, for you to try, like on the pod. But Lord willing, sometime in the future. It just didn't work around that time.
Yeah.
Prepare a whole meal to bring it to you. At least not this time around. But,
listen, man. I'm listen. Now, when I see you around, I'm like, you got that curry chicken for me? Like, you got this food for me? I'm looking for it. Yeah, I'm excited about that because I'm a huge fan of like, even though I grew up in Philadelphia, like, and it's just not really a culture of food, it's more like a style of food and like what we used to. I've like grown to like appreciate all cultures of food. So technically now I don't like to eat just, I don't want to say regular food, but more common food. Like I want to eat Chinese, Thai food, Greek food, Jamaican food, like food from the islands, Caribbean. I want to eat all that food because I feel like that's where all the flavor is. Like that's where different, you can actually taste real food, because in America it's not really, I don't want to say real food, but it's kind of like saturated. It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say bad, but it's not authentic. Like a lot of stuff is prepackaged, plastic, bad for you. Like a lot of stuff in foods, like red dye, they don't do that a lot internationally. So once I was able to try different foods, different cultures, I was like, man, I'll never go back. Like I can eat this all day, like 24/7, eat all kinds of cultures of food, because I just hate eating regular food, like the same food every day.
Tell me about it.
Like I like different cultures. I like to be like, damn, this is good. I'm gonna try this again. So
yeah, for real.
Okay, yeah, we gonna have to connect.
Yeah, no doubt. I felt that way when I tried Mediterranean food for the first time.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I went to this Mediterranean restaurant like 10 years ago. It was downtown Atlanta. I guess it's what do they call it again?
Like Greek food.
No, it was Mediterranean. I'm trying to think of like the area. It was what the station was, but right off Peachtree Street. It's like it's a little Mediterranean spot down there. And I tried it one time. I was like, man, this thing is good. I might have only had it twice, but it's all right.
Yeah,
it's good though.
Yeah, that's how it be. Like food, just like different foods you don't expect. It changed your whole perspective about like culinary. You like, damn, I didn't know people was using the same ingredients we got to make this kind of food just a lot better.
Exactly.
Once I seen that, I was like mind blown. Like, this is crazy. I need to travel the world and go try all the foods. Like that's a goal of mine. Travel the world, try all the foods in the world, and just make content about it and tell people like, yo, you can have this food, because food is not subjected to like one culture or one person or one area. Like food is not proximity based; it's culture based.
Okay.
And we can always spread the culture around. My bad, I got on a little tangent.
Every
time I talk about like international foods and all that, it's like, I just want to be immersed in it. I want to see what that's like. That culture is like firsthand.
Right up.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about Bredda's Caribbean Kitchen. Tell me how that came about. Tell me we came up with that idea. So how did you start that?
Man, I remember it was 2020, July 2020.
Prom COVID.
Yeah, prom COVID. Really like right in the middle of COVID, actually.
Yeah.
Around that time, we all in the house. I was just coming off of working at Chili's a couple months before as a server and how to cook. But at that time, I wasn't working. At least not a 9 to 5. I was doing like a lot of foreign exchange work around that time, like Forex and everything. But even with that being said, so back to Bredda's Kitchen. So I'm in the house cooking a lot. I had roommates at the time when I was living out in Kennesaw. And one of my roommates is like, man, because I would have him try my food. We in the house together, so if I'm cooking something, you can get some too. So he would tell me like, bro, you've been going crazy in the kitchen lately, man. Like, like the food is great. And he says, you can package this up and you can sell this food. That's what he told me. So I'm just like, so he told me that, and the first day he told me that, it's so funny because like, it rang off like a light bulb in my head, like one of the TV shows, one of the movies.
Like the Jimmy Neutron, like Brave Boys. Yeah.
It's funny because when he said that, he was just like, yo, you can sell this food, right? And I was like, bro, you're right, I could sell this food. And it's funny because I really did it like that. I know it sounds corny, but
I say corny.
But I did it like that because we used to be like jokes. We used to joke with each other. So I used to be like, bro, you're right, I could sell this food, like just joking like that. And then like the very same day he told me that, I went and I made the Instagram account. We sat down. We coming up with names, and I was like, "Yo, bro, what you think? Like, what sound better, Kitchen Bredda or Bredda's Kitchen?" Because in Jamaica, Bredda just means brother.
Yeah.
But Jamaican patois, they say Bredda or sister. They say sistren or sister. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, Bredda's Kitchen. I'm a brother, black man.
Exactly.
So yeah, like what you think? Bredda's Kitchen, Kitchen Bredda. He was like, yeah, I like that Bredda's Kitchen. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Okay.
So, I went ahead and made the logo, made Instagram the same day, and I posted my first post was on that same, the same day I made it. I posted the logo on the page, posted the dish, plate of food, and just started following people locally. Yeah. Started following people locally, and that was inspiration. At least get me started. But another thing is, you think about COVID around that time, a lot of us were struggling to just bring money in. Yep. So for myself, I was telling myself like, man, I do need to find ways to bring it in. Like, my roommate's encouraging me to start selling food. That's one way to bring in money.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people around that time, we're thinking about ways of hustling. Like, how could we bring in extra income outside of work? And for myself, we all come from a demographic, especially being in the urban community.
Yep.
We think of ways to make money, and a lot of us try, veer towards, illegal activities to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to tell myself, what could I do to make money without actually having to indulge in illegal activity or something that get me years behind bars.
Yep.
And I wanted to prove to myself, like, I can do something and try to work it and build it from the bottom without having to indulge myself into that. Like, let me just prove and let me show myself just to see if I can do it.
Yep.
So that way I had me lock in. It's the same way too.
Mm-hmm.
You got someone encouraging you. You got skill. You got talent.
Yeah.
You can just lock in and get this done. And we gonna encourage you to do it. So go ahead, just do it.
Yeah. I like that. And I was going down your page. I seen you do a couple like small events, catering events. So what's the biggest catering event you did with Bredda's Kitchen?
Biggest catering event I believe I've done. This is actually one that I actually didn't even attend. But I cooked for it. I cooked. I won't even say majority of the food because I wasn't there. I'm not even sure what else they had. But it was a breast cancer awareness organization. They were having an event sometime in 2023, and I believe they said it was 80 plus people that were going to be there. So they ordered maybe like 3 pairs of my jerk Alfredo chicken, which is a very popular dish that people like to have.
Yep.
Most people, when they try, they tend to like it, and so they ordered a couple pans of that, and I did like a pasta salad as well. I made for them a pasta salad, and it might have been one more other vegan dish. It was about 2 years ago, but as far as the quantity of people, when I reached back to the woman who reached out to me, she told me that it was 80 plus people, and majority of the food went. She did say there were other dishes there, so some of the food that was left over, people just packed it up and took it home.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, but from a personal standpoint, maybe the biggest event I might have done was it could have been my very first pop-up shop. I did it. There's a restaurant called Forks and Flavors. I'm not sure if you heard of that.
Flavors. Is it in Atlanta?
No, it's in Kennesaw.
I've never heard of it. I never heard of it. Is the food good?
The food, man. Look, if the oldest happen to catch this video, look, check me out. Hit me up.
Yeah.
The oldest if anybody happen to catch this video, I've never tried the food at the restaurant.
Okay.
I never tried it there. A lot of blessings came my way early on, like especially my very first years going into business, like to where the business received so much recognition. I had one of my supporters reach out to me who actually worked at Forks and Flavors. I believe he might have been a server there, and he told me that they were having a Black business event, and they were opening up their kitchen and opening up their space for people to come and vend, and just be a part of that space, and I can invite my following, my customer base, just as well as individuals that can come to that restaurant and have their food. It's the same. So at that point, I never even tried the food.
Yeah.
But it was right around the corner from where I lived, so I agreed to do it, and I really appreciate them for that. Both the owners, I appreciate them for that because they didn't have to do it, and they opened up the kitchen for me. And honestly, it was no charge, no cost on my part. So that was a big blessing. That was the very first one I did.
Okay.
Everything I brought sold out. I brought a lot of dishes too.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Like, what dishes did you bring to that pop up?
Man, so that was 2021. So of course I had the jerk Alfredo chicken, the most popular one.
Yep.
Also, that for sure went. I brought a couple pans of that because I knew that was gonna be popular. So jerk Alfredo chicken, the curry chicken, for sure. White rice, if I'm not mistaken, I brought rice and peas, mac and cheese, candied yams, and I might have had steamed cabbage there. Just the regular essentials. Like I didn't go too crazy or too out of the ordinary for what my customer base were already used to.
Yeah.
Because the way I had it set up, I would do plates. It started off 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I cut it down to 5 days a week, just Monday through Friday. Then even downsizing this a lot more, down to 3 days a week. And so even just with those in particular dishes, I had a set in stone menu that I would post up every day to where my customers, they were familiar with the menu, so they would know exactly what sides. From a business standpoint, it's a lot easier just to have set in stone things that people know easy for them to try. So they don't got to think twice about it. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to have on Tuesday. I know what the cabbage tastes like. I know what the mac tastes like. I know what the chicken tastes like. So when it came to the pop-up event, I try to follow the same format. Yeah. You know, do the things that I already mastered and specialized. Because at the end of the day, it's also business. Yeah, exactly. You know, I know this food is going to be good because many people tried it and they appreciate it. They tell me that they like it. But for those who haven't tried it, let me just get the food that I know that I mastered. I got to you know, so to a certain extent. So there's no gray area. Yeah. You know, I'm confident about it. And for the people when they try it, you know, you just let them speak for itself.
Okay, most definitely. I definitely like that. So you saying between your jerk chicken Alfredo and your, you know, that's your most popular item. Do you got any other populars? Like maybe that chicken Philly BLT. I seen that one too. That one look good. I seen that one. I was like, okay, I like that.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. So what other items are like very, very popular on your menu?
Well, honestly, I had a very limited menu. Like again, to answer that, so outside of the jerk Alfredo chicken, the second most popular dish was I would do a honey mango salmon. A honey mango salmon. Again, because Monday through Friday, what it was. Monday I would do the honey mango salmon, and I'll call it Mango Mondays.
Mondays, That's cool.
Mango Mondays. On the Tuesday, we do the jerk Alfredo chicken. The Wednesday was a dish that I don't know if I created it. I haven't seen anyone else do it before I've done it, but I tried it out and it came out great. I would do a curry barbecue salmon. Barbecue salmon. And it was popular. It wasn't as popular as the honey mango salmon, but a lot of people enjoyed that dish as well too. So on Thursday, I would do a salmon sandwich. It was like, it was different. It's like a salmon sandwich. You put it on like this raisin bread, throw a little peanut butter on there with some chipotle aioli. I know it sounded unorthodox. Well, stick with me.
Okay. I'm here with you.
All right, so you got like cinnamon raisin bread. Actually, no, it wasn't even on raisin. It was just cinnamon bread, actually.
Cinnamon bread, okay.
Excuse me. So cinnamon bread with the peanut butter, chipotle aioli. You throw grilled salmon on the sandwich with sliced avocado and some lettuce. So there'll be no cheese on the sandwich at all. And that'll be all that's on it. You know, you slice it, you serve it with it, whatever size anybody will want. But that was a hit as well too. Believe it or not. Yeah. You know, it was one of those dishes where people tried it like, peanut butter, really? I'm like, yo, peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
They're like, really? I'm like, yeah.
I would be open to trying that. That definitely sounds good. Like, and now I'm thinking about it, like the different, because the peanut butter is creamy, and you got like that nuttiness, and it's kind of like that contrast between like the very like fatty kind of salmon and the mayo. So, I definitely get down with it. That sounds good.
It's a smooth, sweet, spicy.
Yeah. I like that.
Nothing overwhelmed each other. Man.
Yeah. Okay.
So to answer your question, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Well, yes. Oh, yeah. That was a good answer.
Thank you, bro.
That was a good answer. So, if you can cook anywhere in the world, where would you cook at?
Shoot. Hey, okay. That's a real good question. I think about country that I like to visit and just, you know something? I like to go cook in London.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I visited London before, 2020. When I went there, they had a lot of restaurants that we have here in the States. Yeah. You know, like the local fast food chains. Yeah. But some of the local spots in London that I tried, the food, and again, this is no disrespect to London. You know, I've talked to many other people. You know, they would agree with what I say. You know, just depending on where you go, some of the food it wasn't as diverse as far as taste or that cultural kind of in the mix kind of food. Like, okay. Like, I'm gonna give me some fire Jamaican food, some fire Thai food in London. Now, granted, there may be some spots out there that got that fire, but when I was there for about 3 days, the spots that I went to, they didn't have. I mean, I didn't come across any of those cultural kind of dishes. You know, they had some like falafel spots and things like that, which is okay. But it's for my special, like the way I cook, and I'm also open to learning as well too. I mean, I probably could meet like the top chef in London or some great cooks in London, but the reason why I say that city is because the restaurants that I went to and the food that I experienced, it seemed to be lacking a little bit of that culture and that flavor. I think if the people were to have some of that food with a little bit of flavor and culture, a little twist to it, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I see what they're doing over there in the States. So yeah.
Yeah. Like if you know, like people started migrating to London and bringing their culture with them, you think London would, you know, kind of turn over a new leaf?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
But again, though, I was only there for 3 days.
Yeah.
I only visited one time, so they might have some fire spots out there. So again, I don't want to. I hope I'm not too hasty in answering that, but that was just my reason. Because when I tried, I'm like, yeah, maybe I just need to bring some food over there.
People over there. Yeah. Okay. What's one of the biggest obstacles you've overcome in your journey?
As far as with the culinary.
Yes, with the culinary, but more so within like maybe like yourself, like maybe like self-doubt, or you feel like you haven't had any opportunities. Like, what's one of those obstacles that you feel like, you know what, I've taken the time to overcome this to get to the place where I wanted to be at.
Man, that's a great question.
Thank you.
For real. I could, you know, well, this experience is ongoing. I mean, even still, I mean, this place is, and I'm going to answer the question, but even still, you know, even now in my culinary experience, I feel like I might have not experienced as much as I would like to, as far as experimenting with different dishes, working under other experienced seasoned chef, and just to learn from them, and be in their atmosphere, in their space. So, you know, that's something I feel like maybe not a struggle, but in the future, I mean, like even working towards getting to that point.
Yeah.
I didn't go to culinary school, so I didn't have that traditional training. I had to pick up everything alongside where I went to. The learning itself wasn't a struggle, but maybe now as far as it's the personal growth perspective, I think one of the bigger things for me, and maybe I would deceive myself at times, and lack of humility. When I started out cooking, you know, you gotta have the confidence. But then there's also a borderline between confidence and cockiness. You know, so whatever I would do, I would throw overconfidence on it. Like, man, it's gonna be good anyway. It is good to have that confidence. But then even just outside the kitchen, from a personal level, like, you know, just have a way you carry one thing could translate to other things. You gotta have humility. You know, not only in the kitchen as a chef, but even in your everyday life and your relationships. How you deal with, you know, your family, your friends, you know, your spouse, your co-workers, just the same. And I had a lot of growing to do. You know, I started Bredda's Kitchen when I was 24, in 2020. So at that point, I'm still a young man. I'm a grown man at that point, but a younger man. But it was a lot of personal growth I needed to do. And it was a beautiful thing. I really appreciate the business when I started it, because it allowed for me to grow, not only as an entrepreneur, or, you know, as a business owner itself, in itself, but also as a man too.
Exactly.
Man, because when your back is against that wall, it's like, it just mean when it is only just you, you know, unless you have a partner. But in my instance, it was only just me, and I had to grow with my business as a man just the same. And the faith that I had to exercise just the same. So
that is true.
You know, and it's a lot with it. Well, look, and I'll tell you this. I think one of the bigger testimonies for me is I remember in 2021, man, I was going through it. Man, it was around May-ish 2021. Well, maybe late April going into May. I was driving to Atlanta to go drop off some food for a delivery, you know, do my business. A gentleman ordered a couple plates of food, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, I can go deliver it for you. And at the time, I had a Mitsubishi, but I didn't have my vehicle registered yet. And I knew that taking that drive to Atlanta could be a risk. At that time, I'm like, man, like I got to get this money. You know. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can meet you out there. You know, he texted me the address where to meet. You know, I knew the location, so I drive out there. And I get downtown, and the moment I pull up to the street where he's parked at, there's an officer, and he just got done pulling over somebody. Like literally, as I'm approaching the road, the officer's in his car already. The car drives off that was just previously pulled over, and I drive past them. The officer's in his car, and as I drive past the officer, because my tags weren't registered, the officer pulled it right behind me and pulled me right over. You know, so as I got to the destination, so from that point on, you know, it just like it went from bad to worse. You know. He asked for my license. My license was good, but my car wasn't registered. And without the registration, the insurance also wasn't there for the vehicle too.
Oh, her.
So at that point, it was looking bad.
Yeah.
It was a dummy mistake on my part, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at the officer at all for stopping me. He's doing his job.
Right.
I didn't have my vehicle registered, no insurance, so they ended up towing my car.
Right.
And it was interesting because it was right around rent for that May. So I had to come out of pocket and pay to get my car out. So then they put me behind on rent for that May. So I'm just like, man, okay, I'm gonna get it back together. I'm gonna work, just do faith, get that money back together. Mm-hmm. So I'm working, now maybe about 2 weeks go by. Right after I get my car out the impound, I got it out maybe 2 or 3 days later. I get my car at the impound. 2 weeks go by after that, my car breaks down. It want to start. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, man, I just spent the money to get the car out. I got my insurance. I got it registered. I got everything taken care of. All right, so I maybe came out of pocket maybe $600 at that time, and it breaks down 2 weeks later. I'm like, man, at that time, I wasn't even sure what was wrong with it. So I'm just like, was it the alternator? Was it the starter? Was it the engine? Was the battery? But I let it sit in my garage for a while. And where I lived at the time, you needed a parking pass to be parked up in the garage.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
And it'll let you in and out the gate and everything. Yeah. So as I'm working to get that money together to get my vehicle situated, I took my pass out the car so I can get in the Uber so I can run my errands and everything, and they can let me back in the gate. Yeah. So just one evening I forgot to put my pass back in the car because they would have a tow truck ride around every night
and check to see.
Yeah, just check and see. Yep. So this one night at the random, I just go out there. It's maybe about 1 a.m. I'm walking out my apartment just to throw out some trash, and I'm looking and I see a car parked in a spot that my car is already parked. So I'm like, am I tripping? Yeah. Where my car go? Like, who's parked in my spot? And then I look around and I see my car's gone. I'm like, oh man. So now my car got towed a second time within 2 weeks. Yep. I'm like, man, that's more money out the pocket. I'm already behind on rent until I catch up for May. I'm like, man. So they took my car to the impound. I call them up the next morning. I find out where my car is and everything. They tell me the fee. I'm just like, man, it's looking tough, looking rough for me. So I end up working up. I end up working up the money by the end of the month of May. I end up being able to at least pay my rent because the rent you gotta pay your rent. You need a place to stay. Yeah. You could do without a car for a while, but
you can't do without a place to stay.
Yeah. You can't do without a crib, man. So I paid my rent first, and I'm still behind on getting my car at the impound. So some weeks go by on that. Days gonna go by. So you still gotta pay them bills. Yeah. So now we're in June, and I gotta pay my rent for June. I'm a little bit behind on June too. So I just been behind for May. So I'm still working. A lot of opportunities coming my way. At that time, I was blessed to do an opportunity. A young lady named Sierra Parker, she looked out for me. She reached out to me because her cousin was one of my frequent customers, and she hasn't had Sierra at that time never tried my food, but she was a follower of mine, and she just knew that people would reverence my food a lot. Oh yeah, it's good food. So she reached out, asked for me to cater her event. And this is actually my first catered event. Okay. My first ever. So I said, okay, cool. So I did her. I think it was like a brand relaunch for her. Yeah. Somewhere in Atlanta, we did her brand relaunch. It was a success. She had maybe at least about 30, 40 people that came out from what I can see, or at least what I remember when I was there. Mm-hmm. The food was a hit. People enjoyed it. I watched everyone eat. Everyone was enjoying the food, so it was a blessing. Yeah. So, I put some money in my pocket. And it also gave me a lot more notoriety, at least as far as from a business and a professional standpoint. Yeah. Because now I'm doing catering events. It's no longer just, okay, you serve a place at his house. Yep. It's catering events, and it had a good turnout. Yeah. And she also had a pretty big following too. So the people that showed up to try the food, a lot of them follow me or ask me questions like, hey, when could we get this kind of food, or when are you cooking again, and things like that. So it worked out pretty well. So, days go by, we're still in June, I'm continuing. And because I did her event, someone else reached out to me a week later. Yep. Exactly. And that's how it goes. That's how it went, you know. So things are starting to look up from then. At that point I'm behind on rent, my car having issues. But I had a great support system around that time. Yep. That's the key thing. It's a blessing to have that support system. Yes, sir. It definitely is. It's family, friends, coworkers, whoever. Yep. And whether we think we're deserving of it or not, it's important to recognize that you got it. And again, to stay humble and be appreciative when you do have them. Yeah. Not only just in word, but even in deed too. Yeah. In action. But again, so I had a good support system. My family was there to help me out. They let me use their car to drive up to events and things like. So I did the second event a week later. It was a baby shower.
Okay.
Somewhere out there. I think it might have been Norcross, man. It's somewhere like deep out in Georgia.
Yeah, that definitely is deep from over here.
Yeah, man.
Norcross will go far.
It was a little deep. I ain't gonna hold you. But it wasn't too bad though. I didn't have to cook all the food for that event.
Okay.
They just want maybe about 2 dishes. I think I did so if I'm not mistaken, I might have did jerk chicken, rice and peas, and curry chicken. That's all they asked for.
Okay.
They had another caterer to just do the rest of the food. So I brought that there. I stayed at that event for about an hour with the family, family that was having a child, and that was a good turnout as well too. So again, so things are looking up again. Getting more money in the pocket, just trying to build myself back up.
Yeah.
Because it was my first year in that business. Like most people would say in experience, you take a hit.
Yeah.
Yourself from a personal financial standpoint, you're gonna take a hit, and even your business as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was experiencing that firsthand.
Yeah.
Just dealing with business and life.
Yeah, man.
All of that. And taking it all with stride. I didn't want to waver.
Yeah.
I didn't want to waver. I just wanted to continue. So, and I kept continuing. And I was able to pay that rent for June. I caught up and I paid the rent for June. Looking good. Now, July rolled around. It's more to the story.
Oh, yeah.
July rolled around.
Yeah.
It had to bring it all the way back to that May. Because it was a series of events. And for me, it was like, if I could make it this month. Because it got to that point, like, I'm just trying to make it through the month.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow my business.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, everything looking fantastic.
Yeah.
People thinking like, oh, he going up. Oh, like his business is looking good. It's popular, But, from those internally, my close counsel, they looking like, yo, bro, you got this. Bro.
Yeah.
I know he's looking down for you. Whatever you need, I got you. So, just keep on going hard, keep on grinding.
Yeah.
Just hold
Yes,
it down.
sir. Yes, sir.
That's what it was. So now July roll around. June is taken care of. Cool. We got that out the way. Early July, the apartment complex that I was living in, a brother that worked in the leasing office was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And at that time, just due to my lack of diligence, I went and I didn't sign over for a new leasing time. So the lease turnover was at the end of that July would be move out. So going into August, you'd have to be moved out already out your apartment.
Yeah.
And, just move on with yourself. And so early July comes around and a friend of mine comes over, the leasing manager, he stops by my apartment and he was like, man, it was so busy at work today, man. Like, at this point, man, we're already full. All the leases is filled up. And I stopped for a second because he's talking, I'm listening. I'm like, wait, my bad, yeah, you mind coming again, bro? Like, you just said what? He's like, yeah, bro, like, if you didn't sign a lease maybe today or the day before, that's it. All the spots are filled.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. And again, he just saying that in conversation.
Casually, yeah.
Casually. And I was like, oh, man. And he stopped. He looked at me. He was like, oh, bro, don't tell me you ain't signed your lease. And I was like, no. And then my roommate popped out the room. He was like, oh, no. Because he didn't sign his lease either.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. He's like, oh, no. And he was like, man, I'm about to go down there today. I'm going to go down there tomorrow. So he ended up sending the lease. He ended up taking care of it however way he took care of it. My roommate did at least.
Yeah.
To the point he was able to stay. They kept him in the same apartment and everything too. But for me, it wasn't looking too good. I'm like, oh man. Like, so I'm like, man, things are just looking left to right, not left to right, but I take one step forward and you just
take 2 steps back.
Yeah, that's the phrase they use.
Yeah.
That's the phrase they use. And that's how it was coming across to me.
Yeah.
And I still didn't want to waver. Because I'm like, man, I made it this far. I done been through so much just in the past, just the same, not only just in business, but in life too.
Yeah.
We all go through certain trials. I'm like, man, I'm tougher than this, man. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Luckily, I still got support system. Because the thing about it was not only just me falling back and potentially, slowing back, dialing back or even losing the business in that location where I was.
Yeah.
It was more so even just losing my spot and losing my place where I stayed.
Right.
So it was a lot of that circulated. I'm thinking about all of that. I'm like, man, and it came so quick. Yeah. Because he came on a sudden, early July, like, yeah, if you didn't sign the spot, that's it. I'm like, oh, we're already in July. Move out is in 3 weeks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And I'm just coming off of thinking, let me just get these bills paid for June. And I got it taken care of for June. I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It didn't even cross your mind about July and about moving out. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it happened. It didn't cross my mind until he brought it up. And I'm like, man, because I thought I was gonna be okay. I thought I could just maybe sign maybe a couple days before and I'd be good.
Right.
But that wasn't the case. So he tells me like, look, bro, don't worry about it. I still got your back. He's a leasing man. He said, look, all the leases got to come through me. This stuff happens often. It's not as often to where if you didn't sign, you'll get a spot. But every now and then you get people who will agree to a lease term, but they'll cancel right before the move-in. So if I see a first cancellation, I'm gonna move you right back in so you can stay in this spot. Because I know you want to keep your spot and keep your business. Yeah. He was a big supporter of this, not only me, but my business just the same. Right, and he wanted me to stay there and see my business throughout Bredda's kitchen. So I'm like, yeah, man, I appreciate you. And, we kept in contact often. That was my boy. Mm-hmm. So throughout the weeks at least. And I kept it going. I'm like, all right, cool, man. I'm going to just keep on grinding, keep on working, keep on running my promo the same way I'm doing it, however way I need to do it. At the time, we would run a promo or special where we would give out, I would give out, the business would give out, not myself, Bredda's Kitchen. Let's leave that as his own.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, man, the business would give out at least one plate a week. And that was one of the parts of the promo, just to get people to try the food.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not even about the money at that point. It's, I got to make the money, but as far as the promotion, you can give out a free plate of food for a week. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah,
let people try it. And it would work. People would come and try the food, promote the business and everything. And things will start to look up. At the same time, I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to keep the spot. So, second to last week of July comes around. Another brother named Calvin. Shout out to Calvin. Calvin Maurice, a photographer in Atlanta. He's a renowned wedding photographer now. He's an amazing photographer.
Shout out to Calvin. And the brother reached out to me through a mutual connect, just through mutual friends, and he was also following mine on Instagram too. And he told me that he's opened up his photography studio at the time. Yeah.
He just opened it, and they were having a I'm not sure what the name of the event was, but it was some type of photography event.
Yeah.
And he invited me to come out and to vend there as well. And they had other vendors set up that that had several different things. And they had DJs, other photographers came out, models came out, things of that nature. But he wanted me to be the main cook and the main food vendor. And so we did it to where he helped me out a lot because he didn't charge me to come vend there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he did. He just did it off the strength.
Oh, that's really good.
He looked at it as a big blessing. So if you follow along, you notice like a lot of these things were coming in a clutch. It was blessings without a doubt.
Yep.
It wasn't even only just about my doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping my faith and not wanting to waver and still continue to work and run my business. And at the same time, while I'm in the midst of adversity, just the same, all these blessings are still coming. So now when Calvin did that for me, he set it up to where he had the individuals that were confirmed that were going to come to the event. He said, hey, if you want to play the food, send me your money now. And this is going to, and we came up with a menu. It was the same Bredda's Kitchen menu, some of my more popular dishes. And he said, okay, send me, the menu. Let's design it to where this is the only option of food that people are going to have.
Yeah. That
you're serving. And let them see what the list of food is going to be and allow for them to select what they want, whether it's going to be an entree, what the two sides are going to be. We got their name written out on the order, let them pre-order, pre-select. Yeah. So by that time, how much food you're gonna have to make, how much, the cost for the products and the food for itself. So it helped me out a lot. Yeah. So I'm like, I appreciate you, bro. So I know what I'm walking into.
Exactly.
People already prepaid for their food. I know how much I'm gonna have to spend to make the food. Mm-hmm. No more, no less. So we got all that out the way. I'm like, all right, cool. So he went ahead and took care of that financial side to me. He sent me the list maybe just the week of the event. I think I forgot how the payment worked out, but nonetheless, everything went through. So shout out to Calvin, everything went through. I went there, I did the event. It was another success. And again, this is the week before July was over, and I still haven't heard a word back from the leasing manager. Right. So I'm like, oh man, well, you know what? At least if I'm going out just doing what I've been enjoying doing. Yeah. Just working. Just doing my thing. It's all right. And if I start square one, it won't be the first time. But I start square one. It's okay. The event was a success. Come back, I'm still working. This is my last week in the kitchen, and it's so crazy because I was so hard. I mean, I also heard about it. I didn't even want to tell my followers or my customer base like, "Hey, this is gonna be my last week." I didn't announce it publicly, at least not at this time. I would tell some people here and there that would come by, grab food. They ask me, "Hey, you gonna be here next year?" And we were talking. I don't know, like, well, it's not looking too good for me. And you're like, "Oh no," and it hit the conversation. Yeah. Oh no, where you going?
Yeah, exactly.
I had to kind of break it down to what happened and everything, but I said, look, man, hopefully things work out, So it's so crazy now. So we get to the second to last day. No, actually, I'm sorry. We get to the very last day. It might have been July 30th, because move out was on the 31st. So it was July 30th. I called my brother because my family, I told my situation what was going on. I'm like, yeah, I took way too long to sign my lease. I got to move out. It was like, yo, it's cool, bro. It's all good. You're gonna be all right. We're gonna bring your son back to my spot, and we're just gonna go from there. So I packed majority of my things into the whip. To my brother's truck. I pack it up. He takes some of it, and he comes back to. He came on the 29th, and he took some of it. And he came back the next day, the day before I move out, and I went with him this time, and I grabbed the rest of my stuff. We went together, and I took all my stuff and brought it back to my mom's crib. So I moved out everything at this point.
Yeah.
And I come back to Kennesaw because I might have had like some small things still there, and I had the apartment for one more night. So I'm like, okay, I got my toothbrush, my shower stuff. It's cool. I can stay there for one more night. And I tell you, like, it was mid-afternoon that same day on the 30th, the day before move out. I come back to Kennesaw, just go back to my apartment. And bro, when I say the minute, I mean like 1 minute of me stepping foot back onto that property.
Yeah.
My homie called me. He calls my phone. He's like, hey, bro, yo, I got me a lease. I got your lease, bro. Like, but I need you to sign it ASAP. I need you to sign it ASAP. Like, if you want it, like, he asked me, he's like, yo, do you still want it? I'm like, yeah, I want it. He's like, all right, bro, I'm finna send it to you. I'll send it over to you right now.
Right. That's clutch.
And I'll tell you what's more clutch about it. I was able to stay in that same spot, not even just the same apartment complex, but the very same apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes when you don't sign your lease, they give you your other apartment away to somebody. So I was able to stay in that very same apartment too. Yeah. He's like, bro, I got you. I made it work. I flipped it around for you. I talked to my manager. I let him know, like, look, we don't keep him in the same apartment and everything too.
Yeah.
He really looked out. That's my guy.
Yeah,
Shout out my brother Lucas Frank. Yeah, he looked out for me a lot. He sent me over the lease. I signed the lease. And it's so funny because some of my followers, they know some of these people because I will be with these people often. Yeah. But they don't know these stories in depth like this. Yeah. Because not every day I'm just going to go with this, always tell these stories. Right. So it's just so cool to be able to share right now. Lucas Frey, that's my guy, man. Yeah, man. He looked out for me a lot. So I went and I signed the lease. Boom, we locked in. All right, cool. We good. So I did that. I called my brother up because he just dropped me off back over here because at that time I didn't even have my car. Yeah. I didn't even mention that. I ended up not even getting my car back.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Right. That's a lot.
If y'all still following on the story, no, I did not get the Mitsubishi back, man. I ended up letting the Mitsubishi go. Money was real tight at the time. Whether the person would disagree with that a good or bad decision, I had to make that decision. I had to make that executive decision, man.
Yourself, exactly.
I had to let it go. Because again, the car was a used vehicle, it was an older vehicle. I'm like, look, man, I like my car, I want a vehicle, but I need a place to stay. Yeah. I could always get the car back. If not for nothing, I can get it out the impound months from now. Mm-hmm. It's only been a month or 2 months in the impound. I ended up leaving it there. Long story short. I ended up buying a new vehicle, another vehicle. But yeah, man, I get my apartment back, call my brother up, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I just got a new lease. You know what's crazy, man? We just moved all my stuff. My brother's like, man, I gotta be God right there. Yeah. He's like, I gotta be God, but look, that's good. He's like, that's good. I'm happy for you, bro. I mean, look, it worked out. Yeah. It did work out, Like you say, you stay down and look at me, it's all good. Yeah, man, so that's what it was. And I tell you, the main thing that motivated me, I talk about faith, I mentioned faith a few times, even now. I study the Bible often, and even then I was study often. And it's a story in the scriptures called the Book of Job. Okay. It's a book in the Bible called Job. Job was a prophet of God. And Job was a man who God called perfect. Job was at the time the richest man in his region. He lived in the land of Uz, according to a story of Job. He was the richest man in his region. He had a lot of livestock. He had plenty of children. He had a wife. He had many servants. And he was a man that feared God, and God blessed him a lot. And God also called him perfect. It's the same. And Job was a man that God bragged about. God would brag about Job. And the story goes essentially like the devil came before God. Satan came before God, and God's like, hey, have you ever considered my servant Job? For you to tempt him to see if he's gonna act out of character or waver in his faith. So God is asking Satan this thing. He's like, and again, this is something that we read in the story. And Satan goes, Well, no, I haven't tried Job because you protect him too much. Like, why would I try? Why would I try to tempt Job or try to trouble Job? Because you got your hedge of protection around Job right now. There's nothing I can do to him. But same thing was like, but I bet you if you take your protection away from him, he's gonna curse you to your face, and he's gonna go off. He's gonna go out of the way, and go off from doing your will. And God's okay, cool. I challenge you that. I'll let you touch everything in Job's life except the man himself. You can't touch. You can't hurt the man, but you can touch everything else in his life. So then from that point in the story, you hear about Job losing everything. His children was killed. His servants were killed. His livestock was stolen. All in the same day. All in the same day in the story. He lose all these things. And Job, when that happened to him, he was heartbroken. He was sad. You know, the scriptures talk about how heartbroken and sad he was. But one thing he didn't do, he never cursed God. And he had people around him tempting him. You know, the spirits that was around him, the spirit would jump on the people that are around him. Like, for example, even his wife, the evil spirit jumped on his wife for him to be tempted to curse God. Yeah. To God's face. But even Job had to rebuke his wife, like, "No, you tripping. Chill, you good. I'm not gonna curse God. Like, it's looking bad for me right now." But one of the famous lines in the first chapter, he says, "The Lord gives and the Lord taketh away, but blessed be the name of the Lord." Yeah. You know, because like, who am I? Like, the Lord gave me these blessings. He allowed me to have all these things, but he also took it away. Yeah. His name is still blessed. Like, what can I do about it? Yeah. And I'm still gonna follow after him and do his will and not waver in my faith. So that's a testament of faith. And I remember when I read that story, it inspired me a lot because I'm like, yo, I'm losing everything right now. Like, I'm losing money. My business is struggling. My personal finances are struggling. Yeah. I just lost my car. Now I'm losing my apartment. I may be losing my business for a while. I don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah. All these things. But I'm telling myself, like, nah, man, I got to stay in the faith. I got to continue to do the works. The works in my business, works in what I know to do as far as what my faith tells me to do. Yeah. Spiritual works. Got to do all these things. I got to continue. I got to endure. And in that, I didn't want to waver, and I didn't waver. And that was my testimony and the testament of how God was working in my life. Yeah. I started to see all these things take place from all these catering events, for people reaching out to me, not charging me any money to vend, just giving it handed to me. Like, bro, you just got to show up and do what you already do. Yeah. You know, you don't got to make it complicated. You don't come up with no fancy dish. Yeah. Just do what you do. I'm gonna help you out. I got you. And lo and behold, it's so crazy, bro. Again, the day before move out, I didn't know what was going to happen. I just moved my stuff out. Yeah, and you got that phone call. I got that phone call. Bro, you good. You can stay. Yeah. I'm like, man. And what's crazy is, now we go back to the story of Job. Now, with Job, you read that Job, he didn't waver in his faith also. He never cursed God. And he continued on in his faith and doing the works. And God restored all these stuff back to Job, plus some. All the stuff that he lost, God gave it back to him again. Children, got it back. He got more kids. Livestock, he got all his livestock again, plus some. Servants, he got his servants back. You know, his wife was still his wife. All these things that Job lost, God gave it right back to him because he didn't waver in his faith. He continued to work and to do the will of God. And again, when I knew the story. I knew it even when I was going through the trials. I knew the story, and that's what inspired me. And it's just a testimony of, like, you know, the same faith that we read about and we study, you know, through the prophets of God, we learn about it, and through his word, we learn about, and how we can follow in their footsteps and example, and let it be something that we follow after, and let it manifest in your own life. Yeah. Let it be a testimony for your life. Or let it be his testimony and how he working through you. Yeah. Man, that is crazy. Yeah. Like that. And to resonate with that, I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, but that is crazy, man. Like, that is people would have, like, just gave up. Yeah. People like, you know what, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, why not just go back to my mom's house and not cook no more and just work? Like, people would have definitely, man, bro. So I commend you for doing that. Like, that is crazy. That made me, man. And same year, 2020, I was dating my ex, but we had broke up. So my lease was up in, like, August. So I was like, all right, I'll move one of my homies because from college. We moved in together September 2020. And I was, playing catch up, trying to get back on my bills because I was, like, financially strapped. Okay. So March of 2020, that's 2021, his brother come visit us. And I thought it was all good for a week. But at the end of that week, he told me he moving out.
Like, I'm just moving out next month. And I was like, damn, like, you gonna pay rent? Like, what's he like, nah, you know, I'm moving to Cali. Like, I ain't gonna be here no more. So I was like, damn, well, you know, and at the time I was making skits with my homies, shooting a lot of videos, doing a lot of how-tos, and like doing all that kind of stuff. And he moves out. So all the finances are on me to keep the whole apartment up. My other friend from Baltimore moves down here and moves in with me. And so he not paying no rent, you know, he not doing nothing. So I'm taking care of the apartment, still trying to shoot videos, still trying to do all that, make all this content. And let's say, like closer towards the end 2021, like November, December, they start sending me like letters, like eviction letters, like, hey, you know, you back on your rent, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to figure a plan out. In December, they sent me an actual eviction letter. Like, you got to be out by this time. So I cashed in all my investments to, you know, like pay for my rent. The rent was like $3,500, like 3 months of rent. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this no more. Like, I don't want to like be in this situation no more. I started working at a job called Must & Turner's way back. And I met one of my closest friends, shout out to D there. And, you know, she's like an older woman. She's like 38 at the time. And we bonded like real good. And we did like a business called The Pull Up. We used to pull up on barbershops and dealerships, sell them food, sell them plate. I remember I was telling you about that. So we was doing that for like 8 months. And we got real close. And I remember one day we was at the bar, me, her, and my mentor, we was talking. And it was like, yo, what's going on? And I was like, man, I'm about to get evicted from my apartment. I don't know what's next. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't want to go to my mom's crib. Like, I don't want to, you know, be back at her house because I'm trying to still shoot videos and all that. And I remember, like, maybe like a month before I had to get out, we was doing a pull-up, and she was like, if you want to, you can move in here. Like, I'll rent you a room. And I was like, for real? She was like, yeah, I'll rent you a room. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, you can pay this much. And when she said that to me, I was like, bruh, like, I was willing to move to, like, the hood, like Atlanta in the hood, and go live in somebody else's house I didn't even know. Yeah. Like, go rent a room for somebody else I didn't know, and you just gave me this. I was like, man, this is like, I couldn't ask, like, this is God. I couldn't ask for nothing else. Like, I was worried about, you know, like having a home and having somewhere to stay. Yeah. And God was like, bro, like, don't worry about that. I got you. Just keep doing what you're doing. And when that happened, bro, and I wound up staying there for 3 years until I moved in here. It was just like so crazy because I was like, man, I was so like, just like mentally fucked up about what I was going through next. And I know I wanted to keep making videos and keep doing that, but it's like when you get pulled in a certain direction, you know, you feel like, you know, you should be focusing on the negative in your life instead of focusing on what's making you happy. Yeah. It's like making videos and in your sense cooking. And when that happened, man, it was like I dropped off. Like, you watch Naruto? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I know you know the episode they talk about where Rock Lee was fighting Gaara. Yep. And he dropped his ankle weights, and that's what it felt like. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is the greatest like thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was like, I'm so thankful for, like, I'm just so appreciative. Like, it gotta be God. Like, I don't know what to, like, it's not enough things I can give God, because I'm like, I thought I was gonna be fucking homeless in a sense. Like, so I definitely, like, when you was going through that, and, you know, like, my car, the original car I had was messing up too, but working through that. So I definitely, like, knew, like, man, like, it's a lot right now. Like, so I don't want to stop, but I feel like it's pulling me in the wrong direction to stop. But then it was like, I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, just keep going, man. Just keep pursuing what you want to pursue. And, you know, I did take a little break with, like, doing the podcast and doing videos because I was in somebody else's house. So I had to figure out, like, how to do that. But when I did make the videos, man, they was working. Like, I figured it out. It was working. So, man, that's a story, man. That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. Like, damn, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. That has garnered another level of respect from me, bro. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, thank you, like, man. That's definitely crazy, man. Yeah, that was a good story. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, and I was tuned in the whole time. Like, damn, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
And you know something, man? Because it's like when you're going through it in the midst, it's like you really catching hell. Yeah. It's like we could sit back and we can talk about these stories now, reflect on it, and, you know, maybe get a little emotional or just remember what it feels like. But now, when you're in the midst of it, it's like, man, it's tough. Yeah. Like, for real. Yeah. But again, we talk about that faith and unwavering faith. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Like, even with Job. Yeah. Job, he was feeling it. Job was heartbroken. You read it all throughout the book. He was sad. He was hurt. Mm-hmm. But one thing he didn't do, he didn't curse God. Like, because he understood, like, God took it away. He gave it to me, took it away. I'm not going to curse him because he knew the benefit of his faith and also doing the will of God. Like, all right, if I do the will, he promised I'm going to be okay. He'll take care of me. Mm-hmm. You know, I may not even get these things back. but I gotta protect my spirit and make sure my soul is good. Yeah. I mean, I may be hurt right now, but in due time, he'll heal me. He'll build me up. He'll build me back up again. And you know, those are some of the things that we knew Dope had an understanding of that. Even from my study, I just knew he had to understand. I'm like, man, I got to just make sure I use that as an example. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be tough, man. But yeah. So I love this. I love you. I mean, I love this story, man. I love this story, bro, because all that bouncing around and everything, you know. But you have to maintain yourself.
Yeah, you got to maintain yourself. Yeah. Like you can't lose who you are, because then you become your environment. You become what's around you, and you become the things that you don't want to be. Like when you're going through stuff, that heightens the kind of stuff that you do. So say if somebody, you know, like is a casual drinker, when you go into that kind of stuff, like you might become an alcoholic. You might just start say, you know what, I'm gonna just drink my sorrows away and kind of, you know, not, like you said, not go through it. You know, you kind of running away from it. And that whole decision can change your life drastically. Then instead of, you know, being the person that's going to work through your problems. So, yeah, and if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. I want to ask you, was that your mindset even back then when you were going through it?
Well, so to be around like early COVID, that's when I had started. You know, I started like smoking like marijuana. Okay. So I know when I was going through that, like, you know, I did smoke a little heavier, but the roommate that moved out the first time when he go to Cali, one thing he told me that I never forget, he was like, man, you know, I'm mad at my brother, I want to leave. And he was smoking, and he was like, you see, like we tie our emotions to this. He's like, you know, we put our emotions into like shit that don't matter. And I was like, damn. He was like, I don't know why I'm smoking. But he was like, I'm just mad, so I don't want to smoke. He was like, you know, he's like, I put my vice in my emotions. When he said that, I was like, damn, that's, for you to say that to me right now, what you're going through, I did not expect that. Yeah. And that's the one thing that stuck with me forever. That's still even to this day, even when I feel like I'm in a mood and I might like want to go eat or want to go like drink, I mean, like, I shouldn't do this. Like, I shouldn't put my emotions in it. I should do this as kind of like a reliever, like in a reward for something. I shouldn't do it as like just cause. Yeah. And man, that stuck with me. Even like, that was like glue. Like when he said that was like glue. So that kind of slowed me down doing all those things. Like I didn't tie a lot of my emotions to that stuff anymore. But I definitely resonated with that. I definitely feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we speak on these things that happened years ago, and we could talk about it from a perspective of a retrospect. Yeah. Like, this is how I should look at it. Yeah. But how about, you know, so at least sometimes I'm curious to know what the person's mindset or frame of mind was during that time as well.
Yeah. I have to ask you. Oh, that's fair. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. So, transitioning back to more like a culinary kind of focus. What are three of the most important lessons you learned? You know, just in the industry, in the culinary field. Okay,
so within I say the 5 years, well 6 years kind of year I was a server. Being around food and restaurants and culinary, I say three of the biggest things I learned is making sure that the food is cooked well. Not well as far as like well done steak. Yeah. Cook the temp. Make sure your food is cooked to temp and served to temp. Not only cook the temp, but serve to temp. That's very important. Not only just from a standpoint of, you know, health department, you know, being tested from that aspect, but even when it comes to service and from a health standpoint, making sure no one gets any kind of food poisoning or sickness. So definitely making sure your food is served to temp is one. Cleanliness. Cleanliness, if not for nothing, that's not only just like one of the important lessons I learned. I had chefs that I work with show me the ropes as far as cleanliness, like the proper way to clean, like wash your table, then go back around and sanitize, things like that. And what goes through the dishwasher, what needs to be washed by hand, and, you know, proper washing of the hands and changing of the gloves when you transition to task. I had to learn that hands-on. Some of those things come natural. At least it should. Yeah. But again, you know, it's depending on your experience, your person.
You know, they think certain things are, you know, okay, or people build bad habits and they do stuff kind of like laziness. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah. That's one of the things I heard you mention on one of your previous videos. Somewhat because you had a video about some of the pros in the kitchen, then you had some of the cons, and you mentioned one of the bad habits people do is go in the kitchen too. That's one thing I heard you mention. Yeah. And when I watched that, I agree with you as well. Yeah. And that's one of the more important things that I learned is being in the aspect, how really important that is. Like, even from again, I bring the right health department, like some of the things that they watch. They're watching the entire staff work.
Yeah.
And they're seeing, okay, is this person making sure they rinse their hands properly for 20 seconds and drying it with the towel and cutting off the water faucet with the towel.
With the towel,
put on a fresh apron and fresh gloves. Small things like that. And even just from an OCD standpoint or sanitary, I mean that's one of my biggest lessons and one of my pet peeves if that isn't met. Because you want to want someone serving your food that you don't deem have took the proper measures and making sure that they're serving it to you properly.
Yeah.
So we got food to temp, sanitary, and my last is probably one of the ones that I struggle with the most. But it for the most humbling aspect, I got to be real. It has to be timeliness.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I say it. I struggle with that. I'm not always perfect with timeliness, but I know how important it is.
Yeah.
I'm talking about even showing up on time to be in the kitchen and ready to work, to the point where you're serving the food on time.
Yeah.
Because you got hot in, hot out. You got cold dishes need to be served from a timely standpoint. I mean, all these things. Even when you're transitioning different dishes of the changing of the pans in the hot well, timeliness is big. From all aspects. So those are the three most important things I learned.
I got a chef friend named Remy Sante, and he uses this analogy. He like, you work like a car. He was like, some cars can stay in gear 3 and they can kick it up to gear 4 or 5 a lot faster. Some cars, you in gear 1, it take you a lot longer to get up to gear 6. He's like, so you should always work in the space where you're like in gear 3, gear 4. So you can turn it down or turn it up at a moment's notice. And the one thing about timeliness is like pace. You don't have to be the fastest person in the kitchen. You don't have to be the slowest person in the kitchen. If you understand to work at your pace, you'll get everything done. Like I was at my job, maybe like a week ago, and one of the supervisors was like, "Man, you not done already? You got a half an hour." And I was like, "This all I got left." I was like, the one thing I'm gonna pace myself. I was like, I'm not about to come over here and waste all my energy running around and checking my head cut off, trying to get things done fast when I can do things at a manner where I can make sure it's seasoned properly, it tastes good and look good and it's going out good, and making sure it's quality more than me like, oh, hurry up. And I'm like, man, I'm older. Like, I'm not about to hurt my back, hurt my knees. I was being funny when I said that. I was like, I'm not about to do that. Like,
old man. Young man.
I was like, I've been doing this almost 20 years. Like, I've learned that no matter how busy a kitchen is, if you locked in right here, no matter what's going on, that doesn't bother you. Yeah. It's like, I treat culinary like basketball. Like, when I'm locked in, the only thing I see is me, my area, and the food I'm about to sell. I don't see nobody else. I don't hear nobody else's conversations. I don't hear no other like drama. I don't hear nobody else's food. I see what I got going on. It's like I'm running the drill basically. Okay. And then when it's time for the game time, I'm used to it. Okay. When it's busy and everybody like, I'm sitting there like, you need help? I can help you. Okay. What you need me to do? Like, are you panicking? No, I'm not panicking. I've been through this before. I know what it takes to get out of this. If you need me to help you, I'm willing to help you. And I've always had that approach. Like, a lot of my friends and my peers and my coworkers call me the ultimate professional. Because I come in, I get it done. We can talk, we can chop, we can BS. But if you watch me work while we talking, while we BSing, you like, damn, like, this person puts the work in. Like, he's making sure that he has what he has to do. So when it's time for people to come around and ask you, hey, what's going on? Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready. Do you need help with something? I can help you too. Or, I can be an advocate somewhere else with people. Like, I can be that person that's like, hey, I see you maybe, need some assistance. Let me help you. Yeah. And the whole kitchen is about camaraderie. Like, if I can show that, if you can trust me and I can trust you, that makes us working together so much easier. Yes. If I can't trust you, I'm going to do it myself, and now I don't need your help. I'm going to do it myself, and that puts a lot of pressure on me because now I'm like, I might be struggling, I might feel arrogant, I might not do it right. And if you mess up, then people come at you like, why didn't you ask for help? Always, like, I've always learned to be that person that's making sure you got to do what you got to do, making sure it's done right, and if you can help somebody, help them, because you extending that forward, you never know what's going to come back to you. Yeah. You never ever know. Oh my, yeah. So yeah, okay.
So and I love it because you touched on a lot of points when you mentioned that. One of the key things you hit on was locking in. Yep. Being in the zone, being locked in. I love that. I love that a lot. I mean, because that's very important.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that, culinary chef, they know about these kind of things, but I mean, it's so much different hazards in the kitchen. I mean, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
You got heat, you got hot stove, hot pans, hot oven, you got sharp knives, swinging pots and things of that nature. You got pots and pans hanging above you and everything. So, being well aware of your surroundings and with the task in front of you or the task at hand and what you need to do. And like you said, pace is one thing you hit on. Because I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn from you as well too.
Yeah,
I mean,
fact,
from my understanding, I think you OG to me in the game.
I appreciate that.
I'm sure you got OGs.
Yeah, OGs. Yeah,
double OG. Yeah,
double OGs. Yeah.
Because my experience, what was it? You had about 10 plus experience. So okay, so you're a veteran now at this point.
I appreciate that.
So for me, I mean, I'm learning from you. So I'm thinking of what you're putting down, man. You mentioned pace, being locked in, humility as far as and camaraderie.
Yep.
I like that. I like all that.
Yeah,
bro. Because I see the benefits and all of that, even in the way you just explained that. I really do see that benefit. Because, and even how you explain it to where, I mean, even all these things I mentioned, the opposite of all that, the opposite of not being locked in the focus, the opposite of having camaraderie, or the opposite of humility, arrogance and pride. What kind of stress and pressure that can bring on you in the work field.
Yep.
Like how it was mentioned earlier in this pod how that can trickle down to the aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a super stressful work because you're afraid to ask for help, and then you go home and it just zapped away all your energy.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with the outside issues outside of work now because of just whatever we're dealing with 8 hours throughout our workday. Or most of us chefs probably 10 hours, 12 hours.
Yep.
And that's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
That trust and camaraderie goes a long way. And hearing you say that, even through experience, my own experience, I have to agree with that too. Definitely, bro.
Yeah, and this is probably like one of the last things I want to say on this point, but like a lot of because I've been like management a lot too, like sous chefs, executive chef, dining directors, and a lot of the people that I had under me, they always say, man, like, yo, we appreciate you. Because even though like what you're doing and you got your own work, like no matter what we're going through, like you'll come out and help us. Yeah. And I'm like, because I've been here before. Like I understand like when you having a bad day, something going on at home and you bring that to work with you and you got to put out 100 desserts or you got 50 tickets on the window and you don't know where to start. And I'm like, I've been here before. I know what that feels like. And to have somebody be like, you know what, the person that's my boss took the time out of their busy day to make sure I was good. Like I respect that. And they'll run through a wall for you. Like they'll do whatever they want for you. If you need them to be like, hey, I need 400 cupcakes, I got you. And they'll do it for you because they trust you. And they like, I can put my belief in this person because they believe in me. And even letting people like come at you with like certain ideas or problems and being transparent, like that goes a long way with people. Because a lot of chefs I had, like you couldn't tell them nothing. Like, hey, so I don't like this. They'd be like, get out. It's my kitchen. Go home. Like, oh, well, you don't like it. Okay, well, what's next? And then you feel like, you smaller than what it is. Like you don't have a voice. You feel like they're short. And the word inadequate I'm looking for. And that brings you to a different kind of mental thoughts. So just being that person, being an advocate for the hourlies and the people who get it done every day. Because I know me as a chef and the manager, I'm not gonna be on the line every day. Yeah. But I know when y'all need me on the line, I got you. Yeah. When y'all struggling and you like, hey man, I need some help, I'm the first one on there. Hey, let's sweat together. Let's get it done because it's a battlefield. Like we at war, and not like war like bad, like negative, like murder, but we at war because it's crazy, it's hectic, we cooking, we moving, like, you just keep going. Like, they need that person to lean back on, like, hey, bro, I got your back, don't worry. Like, if you fail, I fail, but it's not failing. Like, if something happens, we gonna figure out, so how can we learn from this? Yes. So then you're more prepared. So, yeah, man, I had a lot of experiences where I had to, like, develop that mindset. Because I was the person that go to work, something happened, I'm pissed off, I want to go home, I want to smoke, I want to go to sleep, I want to eat, I want to play the game all day, I don't want to do nothing. And I carry that attitude on, and then I just realized, like, that's not creating the chef that I want to be. They say, you want to work for the person that you want to be, so be that person. So I've always thought, be that chef that I want to be. You
want to say that again?
Yeah, you want to work for the person that you want to be, so be that person. So I wanted to be the chef that I wanted to work for. Like, so how I react to situations, like, I've had people text me, like, yo, bro, I can't walk, my bag is messed up. I'm like, bro, stay home. Like, I got you. Like, I'll do your stuff for today. we'll reconvene tomorrow. And, something happens, bring in a doctor's note, like being relatable to your staff, because when they can relate to you, it's like, it's like you're building a 2016 Warriors with KD. Like, y'all unstoppable. Like, y'all can win every game, every championship, but you got to be able to
power up on them.
Power up on them, yeah. But you got to be able to have that relationship, and not a lot of people have that, and not a lot of people want to have that.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. Like, in my 15 years of doing this, like, it's not every kitchen is the same, but every foundation of the kitchen is the same. So you just have to figure out, what makes it unique, and how can you exploit that in a way. That's kind of a negative word, but how can you, benefit from that to make it blossom for everybody else in the kitchen?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, man, that was good. Yeah.
I like that.
That was real good.
That was great.
That was real good. One thing I wanted to ask you about is the Yana Day event.
Okay.
I think I pronounced that right. Is it called Yana Day?
Yeah, Yana Day. Yes, sir.
I want to talk about that. I seen that. I got a little glimpse of it. Tell me about the Yana Day event.
Yana Day. Okay. So Yana Day is an annual event hosted by the Yana community. Usually it's...
I didn't mean to cut you off, but what is Yana?
You know something? And I don't want to butcher it. So let me just go ahead and pull up the Instagram page real quick.
Okay.
I'm sure it explains it just a little bit better. So I have it here. So Yana Day. You're wrong. Here we go. Capital. The Yana community. So the Yana community is the Instagram page. It's a nonprofit organization. It's it's for curating untraditional safe spaces that celebrate identity, foster cultural education, and advocate for mental wellness for underrepresented communities.
Oh, heard.
Now, if you were to ask me what does the word Yana mean, I got the definition a few years back when I first attended, but just off of memory, I don't remember exactly what it stands for.
Okay.
The sister, and her name's Kayla. She reached out to me. She's one of the, if not the founder, but a key cornerstone in the foundation.
Okay.
She's very much in the forefront when it comes to these events that they curate, and from my understanding, they do it every year. 2023 was either the second or third annual. They did one last summer too, if I'm not mistaken. I only attended the one in 2022, the one in which you're referencing. But yeah, so that's what Yana Day represents. It's like a majority of like a Caribbean theme thing.
Okay.
Granted, again, it can be my people's from Jamaica. I believe her people was in Guyana or one of those islands. Forgive me, sis, if I got that wrong. It was mainly Caribbean theme. I knew a lot of the people that she knew that she was involved with because I met her later down the line. I knew the DJ at the event. I knew him months before the event, maybe years before the event. Shout out to Tony. He was my neighbor. He was very close friends with her and a few of her people as well too. He was my neighbor and my barber, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah. So the Yana event, I had to throw that out there. Shout out to Tony, man. If you see this video, but the Yana event, essentially, I just read the description. You guys can check it out on Instagram. But they reached out to me and they asked if I would like to come and vend at the event. And if I'm not mistaken, it was expected to have over 100 plus people there at the event. It was, and something that was a very interesting day too, man, because they reached out to me to do the event. I agreed to it maybe a few weeks in advance. They gave me an idea how many people is going to be there, what it's going to look like. It wasn't no pre-order or anything. They just told me to show up, set up, and just do your thing. Yeah. It's going to be a good time. We got a DJ already. We just need you to set up everything event. So I get there that day, and maybe it's my fault for not checking the weather. But it happened to rain right in the middle of the event.
Oh, I heard.
And it was raining heavy, man. It was coming down, bro.
Yeah.
Coming down. I'm talking about things blowing around and everything. Oh, man. But we get there. We get there nonetheless. Yeah. Luckily, myself and another friend of mine, she helped me out with the event. And she helped me set everything up. She helped me curate everything as far as like decoration, the balloons, posters. So I appreciate a friend of mine who came and helped me out. Sister's name is Elmise. Shout out to Elmise. Elmise, she came and helped me out. We set it up, man, and it was real good because by the time we got there, it wasn't pouring down yet, but maybe about an hour into the event, it started pouring down. But nonetheless, look, I'll tell you one thing about the people in the Yana community, man, and how much they would support each other. A few people left, but the core people, I mean, maybe about like 40 people still stayed, and they had a good time. Music was going, drinks going out, and people just turned up having a good time. So they invited me to this to set up. I had, again, a couple of my signature dishes there that day. Of course, the jerk Alfredo chicken. I don't think I served any. I'm not sure if I served any salmon that day. I had some mac and cheese. I know I did the jerk Alfredo chicken. I had some mac and cheese. I might have had yams there that day. I might have either white rice or rice and peas just to serve just the same. When I was there's a few other vendors. The year that I went, there was another Caribbean chef there. He had Caribbean seafood. He's amazing. Don't remember the brother's name, but I'm sure if I look on my social media, brother will pop up somewhere. But another amazing Caribbean chef that was there. They had a food truck that was serving pastries, if I'm not mistaken. Trying to think who else they might have had there. They had a few food trucks. They might have had like another dessert or a snow cone station that was set up in a tent. Yeah, it was dope, man.
Snow cones, okay.
Yeah, because it was maybe 2 years ago, so I'm trying to remember all that was there. But as far as my experience, it was amazing, man. Shout out to Yana community and Kayla for inviting me. Because I appreciated them, because most of the events that I catered for and I attended, including Yana, I didn't have to do too much to reach out for me to participate in.
Yeah.
A lot of these events that I either hosted, vended, or catered, people would reach out to me and say, hey, do you want to come and do this on this date? Yeah. If I can do it, I do it. Now, there's been plenty of events that people reached out and it just didn't work on my schedule. Yeah. So I just couldn't go. But the Yana, man, that was awesome. They went out in the field playing games and everything. I got to see a couple of people that I haven't seen in a while. A couple familiar faces, some new faces, and again, new customer bases the same too. Yeah. It's always awesome to have people come and try your food for the first time, and they be like, "Oh, this is Bredda's Kitchen we've been hearing about."
Yeah. That's good. That feel good. It makes you feel like, all the work I put in, that was worth it. To hear that, like that's what I needed. To like keep going. People like so we recognize you, so we don't see the internal, but we see the outcome, and we appreciate that. Like your food is good, so I definitely feel that. Like that's the biggest thing you can get for somebody. Hey, your food was great.
Yeah, bro.
And you like, yeah, for real, thank you. That's
all
I need.
That got me.
That's all I need to hear.
Because something, man, and I'll show you. Because I've told you this as well too. I've tried some of your cooking. And you one thing I noticed, you always seem to take it with to heart as far as humility. I noticed that I tried some of your chicken. I'm like, yeah, but the chicken was good, but I appreciate that. I really do. And I can tell you really mean it. Yeah. It doesn't come from it doesn't never, well, at least from when I encountered in an interaction with you, it never came from a perspective of arrogancy or pride. It was really humble. Like, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, though you know what you got going on in the kitchen, you know what you can do already. But like you mentioned, you get somebody to try your food and they be like, hey, that was good. And you be like, man, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. Yeah. Because sometimes you just never know.
Yeah, exactly.
We could have a recipe and we cook the perfection to the T. You could have had 100 people try it and say it's fine. You get that 101 person. It's too spicy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, too much salt. It just something. You be like, okay.
Yeah. You like, let me go try to adjust it real quick. Let me go see what you're talking about. Yeah.
And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. One thing I learned, in 2022, I worked at a nursing home out in Kennesaw, and I was a sous chef there, underneath Chef Rudy. Shout out to Chef Rudy. Chef Rudy, I met him through my business just the same. I met him through a mutual friend. My first year running Bredda's Kitchen, and he happened to be another chef, and he got a position as executive chef over at the nursing home we were working at, and he reached out to me to work for him as a sous chef. And Chef Rudy taught me a lot. He taught me so much. And at the time when I was working for him, it was my first sous chef position. So we would cook. So now I'm getting out of, I wouldn't say my comfort zone, but I'm getting out of the zone of cooking in my own spot. Yeah. And having to serve other people and coming up with either my own recipes or maybe following something that Chef Rudy had already catered or tailored for the day. Yep. Say, hey, I need you to make, I'm trying to think of a dish that you might have had. It'd have been like some eggplant, like a meatball eggplant, over some pasta sauce. Forgive me if I got a fancy name for it, but I'm just talking about what was on the dish.
Yeah, you good.
And he taught me how to plate and how to set it up. And he's like, yeah, just season how you season, do your thing. And some days it was more of a humbling experience because when you're cooking for the elderly specifically, you really got to tailor the food to where maybe they're diabetic or have a certain health restrictions, so you got to make sure you dial back some of the seasoning, or maybe it's too much butter, too much salt, too much sugar. So just you have to be careful. In most cases, most places like that, they give you a list of who's on a specific diet. But nonetheless, I go out and you'll serve some food, and sometimes you step out into the dining hall, you talk to the guests and the residents there. You be like, "Hey, how you enjoy dinner? How's the food?" And most old folks, they gonna keep it real. They be like, "Hey, it's all right." Or they're like, it was pretty good, but it's too much black pepper on it. I'm like, oh, that's not really what I like, but it's okay. Maybe tomorrow I enjoy the dinner. Yeah. And it's like, man, it's humbling. Like, dang, I thought it came out pretty good, but you know what? I take your word for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm cooking for you, so it's not even about how I feel and how I think I could cook, because it's not the food that I'm having to live with. Yeah, like you live here. And I'm here to serve you and cook for you. Yeah. So if you say that my food was too peppery or it lacks salt or too sweet or anything, I'm like, okay, now I got to go back to the drawing board. Yep. And dial it up. Yep. And dial it up. But then again, it's satisfying when they say, man, the dinner was fantastic. Or when you get the resident's family come and talk to you. They say, hey, can I speak to the chef for tonight? You'd be like, yeah, my dad loved the food. Or he barely eats this kind of food, but we convinced him and he said he loved it. Just things like that. Yeah, like, man, that's awesome.
Facts. That is true, and I've cooked for my fair share of like senior citizens and elderly because I worked in senior homes too, and they let me hear it a lot more. It was horrible. I hated it. I didn't like it. It was trash, and I'm like, that's understandable. Yeah. I appreciate that. So what would you like to see? And some people don't have answers. They're like, I don't know. Yeah. Something my mom used to make, and I'm like, ma'am, you are kind of like 90. Yeah. I don't know what your mom was cooking back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't know what she was making.
Yeah, like a carrot and raisin salad or something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously, we used to legit make that. Carrot and raisin. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and they wanted it.
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Thought you good. So I definitely understand that. Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you was, so where would you like to see yourself in the whole realm of culinary? If you had well, you do have a dream, but if you could have it your way, or where would you like to see yourself?
Something, and I'm glad you asked me that question. Over the years, I found that ever changing. My ambitions for cooking have changed so much over the years. Sometimes I don't know what direction we wish to go. I'm a young man still, but I know it's important for me to have a direction. So I'm glad you asked me that. I do reflect on these things. One year, I'll tell you what. Early on, for me, it was owning a food truck. Mm-hmm. I know I was always crossing between either food truck or brick and mortar. I like the flexibility of a food truck being able to move and change locations. Yeah. So 1 year was having a food truck. Another year was maybe not a food truck, but potentially getting the opportunity to become an executive chef, but also learning what that entails. Mm-hmm. What really is going to what does that really look like? The lifestyle of executive chef, the responsibility, the diligence and the amount of hours that you put into working for a specific company to even have that position. Is it? And sometimes I question myself: is it the money I really want, or is it the notoriety, or just the title? Because at the end of the day, we all here to work and make means to an end. Yeah. But of course, you have to have a passion for what you do. Yep. Now, I just enjoy cooking, but there's just so many different facets of it. Yep. And again, when I speak on means to an end, I'm realistic for sure, and knowing that in most cases, unless you put yourself in a position to, or work toward a position of controlling your own revenue or your own growth, for your own personal business, if you work for another company, potentially is only so high you can go. Yeah. And even not only just rank a position, but earning potential. Yeah. So these are things that I ponder on, because we got to be real, man. We got to work out here to make money, support our family. So I'm like, okay, which route should I take? Whether it be entrepreneur or try to pursue a position in a culinary field that I know is going to set me up to where now I'll be able to take care of myself, with my family, and also what does that position entail. So honestly, I still seesaw back and forth whether I want to do. I've saw both perspectives. I haven't been an executive chef yet. I work with other executive chefs. I see the amount of pressure that's on them. I see the amount of poise that majority of them have, even the stress. But a lot of them understand their responsibility and what it takes. It's a lot of diligence, a lot of long hours. I have to be real with myself to see if I'll be willing to do that. And even when it comes to being an entrepreneur, I know that's even more work, just the same.
Yeah.
I worked harder for myself as an entrepreneur than I did working for anybody.
Yeah.
In any position. But I appreciate it and I loved it because it was mine.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did it.
Yep.
Well, I was doing it and I watched it grow from here to here to here. And, so there's only so much potential, if it's the Lord's will for him to bless you and give it to you or him take it away, nonetheless, the same goes for a job. He can give you a job and take it away. I don't want to be long-winded in my response, but I would say either just trying to figure out which route to take. Either entrepreneurship, and I know that's very vague. That's very broad because that could be meal prep. That could be personal chef. That could be food truck. That could be brick and mortar. It could be catering. It could be catering. All these, and I tried all these things too. I tried all of them underneath the entity of Bredda's Kitchen. Tried to offer all these things. Offer meal prep. I had a few clients for meal prep. Did catering. I did like I guess you could call it brick and mortar when I was selling my place out of my apartment. I haven't done food truck, but all these different facets and trying to see what it's going to take to actually elevate any particular facet of the entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I tell you one thing I know for sure, I can't do it alone. Yeah. I tried it alone. I done okay by myself, but it was just okay. Yeah. But I know if we want to be sustainable, oh man, you need a business partner. You need a team, without a doubt. Zero doubts about it. Yeah, you can do some. Like again, I want it to. People probably going to watch this and say, "Well, watch me do it by myself." Okay, yeah, you can do some of your own. I'm sure Chef Bredda can attest to that. Yep. I can attest to that for sure because I've done it. But at the same time, if you want to elevate for longevity, man, you need a team. You need a support system.
Yes, sir. That's the truth.
Without
you need a team.
So if my answer is going to be entrepreneurship, I say that if and when I take that route, I'm going to have to work towards building a team and knowing. We need a lot of these qualities that we spoke of earlier, the camaraderie, the communication, the punctuality, the focus, all these things, and making sure not only myself exercise these things, myself first and foremost, but also being a leader and demonstrating these things and trying to help people build themselves up to even demonstrate the same things. And even if I were to be an executive chef, learning from someone like yourself, you're just confirming a lot of these qualities that you need to have just to be successful in general. Yeah. But one thing I want to ask you, because this question that you asked me kind of tailored around something I want to know that could maybe help me potentially make that next step. Yeah. Now, you've been an executive chef before, and you also been in culinary school before too. Now, do you think that, just based off your knowledge, would you recommend an individual, if they want to grow in the field of culinary, just in general, to go, if they haven't been to culinary school, to go into culinary school, or is it a possibility, or it's always a possibility, or do you think it's a stronger possibility that a person could just be equally successful, maybe in culinary field of being an executive chef or getting hired into someone else's establishment without that credibility or degree behind them? Yeah. Which route?
So I think if you are younger, like you're a young culinarian, like you're just starting out the field, then culinary school isn't a bad option. But you always have to think about financial. Like you still be paying like 1 year of like a college tuition. Because when I went to culinary school, it was fall semester, winter semester, spring semester, and you graduated. Then you went on externship. So it was an accelerated program, but it was every day was 8 to 4. You still have homework, you still have like class. You got to deal with those things. But class, they show you like fundamentally everything. Like you getting whole carcasses in, you breaking down whole carcass, you making everything from scratch, from the pasta to the sauces to hollandaise to mayos. You making everything from scratch. So it definitely gives you a good foundation. But they also say, what we teach you here in culinary school, when you get on externship, most of this might not even matter because they're going to have you doing something completely different. Like a chef used to say, you can be an A+ student here in school, but when you go to externship, for your first month, you'll probably peel potatoes. So that just shows like, you know, you have all this knowledge in the back of your brain, but certain places don't really not care, but they don't utilize that sort of like practices and all, like those sort of techniques. So if you are somebody who's older and who has been cooking, you do have more success of growing up the ladder than by still working than going to culinary school, in my opinion. Because when I was like maybe halfway through college, I said, man, I shouldn't have went to culinary school. I could have just went in the field and worked and, you know, gotten like more experience out of that. Because when you tell people like chefs, hey, I went to culinary school, you know, it does sound good, you know, it's a good back and a half, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to work, if you don't know how to like manage your time, prep, you don't know how to execute. They'll be like, you went to school, but you know, you have nothing to show for it, other than people who have been in the industry for like 15 years, who just come into a job and can, you know, execute on every level.
Okay.
So culinary school is a great experience, but I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
So especially for someone, you know, like you did catering, you did, you know, pop-ups, different kind of events. You've been involved in every aspect of culinary. Going to culinary school would show you that. It would just show you things you've seen. Like everybody has their own kind of motives, you know, everybody has their own different stress levels. Like you'll see people that we see, you know, every day in the field, like in culinary school. Like somebody who gets busy, they start panicking. Somebody who cut themselves, somebody who's real nonchalant, don't care. Like you'll see a lot of those people, but it's not necessary. You know, you can do that while getting real reps in the work field instead of getting like reps in the culinary school. Because culinary school, it's instructor driven. Like the chefs, they'll yell at you, they'll get loud with you because they want to show you like, you know, how kitchens can be and how they used to be.
Yeah.
But that's not how kitchens really are. Like when you go in the kitchen, it's a whole different vibe from a kitchen to culinary school. Because trust me, culinary school was definitely an experience. But when I actually got working, I was like, you know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, like I didn't, you know, I thought I was going to be making sauces from scratch every day. Some people like, no, we buy the sauce and just doctor it up ourselves, or we just, you know, make a very similar or a simple version of that sauce. Like, why we have to do certain things like that. So I definitely recommend to just keep working and keep putting your best foot forward, because then once you do that and keep your head down, more opportunities are coming your way. Like people start giving you, hey, you want to be a supervisor, a sous chef. And once you start getting those kind of credentials, then you're like, hey, I want to apply to be a sous chef somewhere else. I want to apply to be an executive chef somewhere else. Like somebody's always going to take a chance with you. And my first executive chef job, I was a sous chef at a restaurant called Mustang Turner's. Okay. And I remember I was like, I'm tired of this. Like I've been here 3 years. I feel like I'm stagnant. I feel like they just using me to just be like the weapon, like fire people, come in here, help us out, go home. And my homework was like, hey man, I see how you work. Like I've known you for these many years. I want you to be my executive chef. And I was like, say that. That's it. Peace.
Just like that.
Just like that. I was like, I put my notice in, and a month later I was executive chef. And you know, just figuring out, like you said, like what that entails, certain like a new power I have, like certain respect that people have for you. And that was like the perfect experience. Because after executive chef, I became dining director. And that's a whole nother level of learning and seeing what it takes and just getting the reps in while I'm doing it. And also learning on the fly. And it's not wrong with learning on the fly, especially if you're doing something new. Okay. But I definitely feel like working reps in the field while also, you know, getting paid, not having to go to school and put yourself in financial hardships is way more valuable than going to school. Yeah.
Man, thank you, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I love that response.
Yeah.
It's always important to ask that, you know. I might could talk to 100 chefs and they could give you a different response, and you know, but at the same time, this is life.
Yeah.
This is life. This is real life. People outside looking in, of course, most chefs they know, but I mean, a lot of us still trying to figure it out because it's like, I mean, you have to make that means to an end. I mean, yeah, you can have a position, but it all takes work and maintenance. You gotta maintain your position. You gotta maintain your skill level. Maintain professionalism. And outside of work, you got to maintain yourself and your family.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right,
you
know, which direction do we take?
Right. Yep.
But I do love your answer.
Yeah.
I love your answer a lot because I heard chefs say that too. Like I worked at a gig in Sandy Spring early on, like my second year, just decided to cook. It's like even my second year in the Bredda's kitchen, I went back to work and I work underneath the chef in Sandy Springs. I won't say his name. I mean, the brother was real discreet about his reputation, things like that. But nonetheless, he was an all right man. And he would say things like, you know something, you know, I'm teaching you these things, but it's good because I have to go to school to learn all these things. But but you gotta realize you getting paid to learn this stuff.
Yep.
He's like, we pay you to learn this, so just recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Because you learning a college tuition worth of experience right here and worth of knowledge. Yep. Like, okay, I like that. You know, and I have to take that for a grain of salt. So
that's facts. Man, I was at a Philadelphia country club, and there was this one guy I used to work like closely with. His name was Matt. I forgot his last name, but I think he went to school for half the time I went to school. But now he got a Michelin star restaurant in New York. I think he got 2 of them in New York.
He's like a chef.
Yeah, so I think he's like the owner, executive chef, and he got 2 Michelin star restaurants in New York.
That's good.
So that shows you, like, you know, school is a tool, but it's not the only tool.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of more valuable tools out here that can give you what you're looking for outside of school, because school is more like a one-way street. But like the chef that's teaching you, the stuff he teaches you can take that like anywhere, and like have the freedom to take it anywhere without having to like be in school, and you got to finish school before you do all this kind of stuff. If you don't finish school, you left with like a financial bill. Like nobody wants to do that kind of stuff at all. At all. Man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, dog.
Oh, no doubt, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. This was a good one. Yeah, I mean, you want to get your plug in? You want to shout your Instagram out?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you all can follow me on Instagram at Bredda's Kitchen, BREDDAS Kitchen. The same goes for TikTok. It's the same. You can reach out to me. I specialize in Caribbean dishes. You can reach out. You can find me there. I respond to messages as timely as I can, and do like catering, meal prep, you know, this culinary advice, just in general. You can find me there. Also, I just want to give another shout out to Chef Vernon for having me on this platform. Thank you for inviting me to your space, brother.
Appreciate you, that's real. Appreciate you,
This is a good one. I hope you all learned a lot, like how I learned, man.
Yeah, this is really a good one, man. This is gonna be great. But man, that wraps up this episode of 86, man. I appreciate y'all. Peace.